Everyone, today is February 13th, 2021. This is the Duels Aspect, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger. This week, we're raging into the end of the Kaiba Cup. We're in the second stage. And going to talk about some tournament scenes from this week and last. And also the new meta, new things going on with discounted boxes. New things going on with the Kaiba Cup, a new rule, a new card too. And several new cards from Tour Guide, Bingo, Card Flipper Campaign, and also from Ranked Duels. First of all, thank you for being considerate of me not having a podcast last week. It was my first podcast almost in 4 years, where I took a first weekend almost in 4 years where I took off and did not do a podcast. And that was more of resetting myself. I think it was the day before the Super Bowl, actually, and I had plans, but then it wound up being there was snow, so with the way it was, I didn't do anything with the Super Bowl really. But there was nothing really going on in the game. I think they just released one card during the whole week of last week, so I thought it'd be best to take a week off and have a week this week instead. So thank you for being considerate of that. And yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I've got my second coronavirus vaccine, and since then I haven't been great. Like, I've been sneezing a lot. That's kind of a weird side effect that only I have, I guess, but I haven't been great. So a lot of factors went into the decision. It wasn't an easy decision. I wanted to keep the Iron Man streak going for the podcast, but given that it's almost been 4 years and I'm the one doing it, it's my call, I guess. So that's what happened. In terms of Duel Links, I never really put it down though. Even though I didn't do a podcast, I had qualified into Stage 1 with Noble Knights. It was pretty easy. I thought a lot of blue eyes. A lot of meme decks just came back out of the blue, which was fun. It's kind of like you're revisiting the history of the game. And the meta you're fighting Amazon is for some reason. And Noble Knight mirrors, pretty fun. At the DLV 19 stage, had a few of those. And then I had like 4 or 5 days to kill. Just to get my 4 duels in a day so you could get your gems in your pack. And I was playing Digital Bugs, which lost me more games than none, but at least the games went fast. So yeah, I was playing those 2 decks, and then I was preparing notes for this podcast, and I noticed the water deck had just come back, the Water XC's deck, that is. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later, what deck I'm playing for that specifically. But I had some FOMO, and I decided to dive into the water box. And because there was a sale going on, I went back to an old box to get some Atlantean heavy infantry. But then it wound up being the last cards of the box. Like, I had to run through 70 packs, even though they were discounted. It still sunk all my gems. I used some of my dream tickets because they were going to expire soon, so I used some of my dream tickets to get some of those cards from that Water XZ's deck, and now I have it. I don't have the full version like most people do, but I do have a version, and I'm running that in the Stage 2 of the Kaiba Cup. I'm not doing very well because I'm playing a deck for the first time, and just trying something different because I noticed that Noble Knights are falling out. Let's talk about the tournament scene. Duel Links Meta Championship Series 39. This happened last Saturday. Information is wrong on the website, but I know what they're talking about. First place, -1, Balanced Noble Knights. -1 notably does not like running discard traps. And Noble Knights were built off Raigeki Break and Karma Cut, but now this deck has none. So, highlights of this deck: 3 copies of Book of the Moon. Of course, this is a selection box only card, so you're going to have to be a whale to get 3 copies of those. 2 copies of Treacherous Trap Hull, and a Noble Knight Brothers over the Pelennor. And just to talk about the Xyz options here, I was experimenting myself with all the different what I dubbed meta defining Xyz, the Steel Swarm Roach, the Abyss Dweller for Noble Knights, but the one who actually sticks is number 70 Malevolent Sin. That's the not what I called meta defining, but it is the best option to improve the extra deck of Noble Knights. Because they have that hard removal banish that none of the other ones do. The Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorgus destroys the monsters. Artorgus destroys the back row. Sacred Noble Knight of King Kustanin will bounce, but Malevolent Sin destroys. It banishes. Second place, Mazariq, Master of Destiny, Desperado. Desperado's hanging on, throwing in a ton of tech cards in the way. Necro Valley, Ally of Justice, Quarantine. And Jiragumo is thrown into the mix. Jiragumo has never been played. You have to play it with Master of Destiny because you're going to lose half your life points for no reason. But, hey, 4-star, 2200 beater, making it into the meta. That's pretty cool. Top 4, Reg Trainer 1, Ultimate Dragons Blue Eyes. Nothing particularly notable here. They do run Hallowed Life Barrier, a little bit of stall. 2 copies of Book of the Moon, Raigeki Break, 2 Karma Cuts. Top 4, Luke Tyler, Territory of the Sharks, Water XZ. So this kind of put the deck on the map, or it has been brewing for a bit. And really, the selection box has Deep Sea Diva and also Atlantean cards. So those cards helped it a bit being in the selection box. Basically the core of this deck, 3 Deep Sea Diva. This card is good. Usually you run 3 Silent Anglers, but this guy only has 2, and he also has Mermaid Shark, which is a perfectly fine substitute. 1 copy of Atlantean Marksman, sometimes you see 2. 3 copies of Atlantean Heavy Infantry, that's normal. 1 Atlantean Attack Squad. 2 Book of the Moon, 2 Forbidden Lands, 1 Necro Valley, 1 Salvage, that's pretty core. 1 Fiendish Chain, 2 Treacherous Trap Hole. In the extra deck, you have Brionic, White Aura Dolphin, Crystron Amatrix, 2 copies of Abyss Dweller, and 2 copies of number 37 Hope Woven Dragon Spider Shark. Alright, so then Duels Meta Weekly 163. First place, Buns, Onomatopoeia, Onomatopoeia deck. So we're going to see this deck a lot because it's been tiered, and it's pretty direct what it does. I personally don't know what the monsters do themselves. That's always going to be a stumbling block for me. 3 copies of Utopic Onomatopoeia, 3 Zubanban Chote Gaga Coat, 1 Gaga Head, 1 Dodo Dwarf Go 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 Glove. Those 2 cards were from the last new box, Photon of Galaxy. 1 Gaga Mancer, 2 Gaga Sister, 2 Gaga Bolt, 2 Hey Trunade, 2 Tribute Offerings to the Doomed, 3 Dodo Draw, and 1 Gaga Wind. Second place, Black Snake, Master of Destiny, Desperado. No more BM4 Blast Spider as we noticed from the last deck. No Jiragomo here either. 2 copies of Allied Justice Quarantine. 1 copy of Sasuke Samurai number 4. That makes it into this deck. That's the cool thing about these coin flipping decks. You just pick like whatever and it works as your last choice. Top 4, Giuliano, See You Later, Shiranui. So Shiranui hasn't been back. No Squires at all here. So Squire Saga, regular Squire, gone. Spirit Master's gone. Basically, this neutered deck is a lot of trap cards. 2 Kazuki, 1 Solitaire, 3 Samurai Skull, 2 Spectral Sword, 1 Cosmic, 3 Ballista, 2 Fiendish Chain, 2 Floodgate, 1 Needle Stealing, 3 Paleozoic Canada. And even the extra deck's just completely shot. 1 Coral Dragon, 1 Onamaru, the Divine Thunder, 1 Sun Saga, 1 Shogun Saga, 1 King Hades, 1 Archfiend Zombie Skull, 1 Samurai Saga. Top 4, Neo, Fire Reload, Invoke Neos, pretty typical deck here. 2 Alistair, 3 Winda, 3 Volcanic Shell, 1 Neos, 3 Book of the Moons, 1 Invocation, 2 Neos Fusion, 2 Raigeki, 3 Karmakine, and 1 Transmigration Prophecy. Battle Phase Prime 3 from Duel Links Entertainment. First place, Vodka for free. Master of Destiny Desperado. BM4 Blast Spitter is out. That seems to be a thing to do. 2 copies of Quarantine. No fancy coin flipper in this deck. Just a lot more back row. Second place, Hawks Level Duplication Thunder Dragon. Pretty typical deck for your Chaos Thunder Dragon now. 3 Levianeer. 3 Dragon Hawk. 3 Dragon Dark. 1 Dragon Duo. 2 Dragon Roar. Those are the dragons. Lightsworn Engine, 2 Raiden, 2 Charge of the Light Brigade. You got 3 Aloof Lupine, 1 Melody, 2 Sphere Kribos. And the advantage of playing this deck is you got those level 6 Xyz plays, which are very good in Stellar Petalomi, M7, and also Photon Strike Bouncer. Up 4 Rich Ferrente Onomatopoeia deck. Not much more to add. They play pretty direct. You've got your Gaga Bolts, your Haytrunades, your draws. Yeah, you know what you're doing with this deck. Top 4 Itachi, Master of Destiny Desperado. This is the one that runs the Jirai Gumo. Not much more to say outside of that. And the Mii Maker Cup number 10. 9 Mung with Territory of Sharks Water XZs. So, yeah, you got your 3 Anglers in this version. 1 Marksman, 3 Infantry. Full copies of Book of the Moon. 2 Lance to help hit the back row. And prevent your guys from getting hit from back row. Salvage. Yeah. Second place, 39 Territory of the Sharks Water XZs. Runs Necro Valley, which is a common binding card in this deck. You do see those Light Imprisoning or Shadow Imprisoning mirrors as well. It goes into the deck. Treacherous Trap Hole you see a lot because they don't run a lot of trap cards. Yeah. This Xyz deck does run a number 47 Nightmare Shark, though. I guess they don't have the 2 copies of the number 37. Top 4 Cyan Pile, See You Later, Star Seraph, Yosenju. So, this is a combination of a few things. You got your 3 Star Scepters, 2 Seraph Sovereignties. So this is part of the Scepter and Chair combo. You get 3 monsters onto the board for an XD summon. And that's valuable because this deck runs Stellar Knight Delteros, Evil Swarm Ouroboros, and also Violent Eye Sigma. 3 cards that require 3 materials. And then the Yosenjus themselves, you got Kama 1, Kama 2, Izna, Sword Sting, and Trap card. You got 2 stall cards, Kite Roid, and 2 copies of Battling Boxer Veil. For Super Darko Balance Magnet Warriors. We've seen this deck before, 30 card magnets, no real way to mill them outside of themselves. A lot of tech cards. Alright, so then that culminates into the Duel Links Meta Power Rankings. Just as a reminder, I don't go by the tier list, I go by the power rankings where we got the numbers. Blue Eyes have fallen a little bit to 16.3. We've kind of got like a top tier meta that's kind of unsettled right now, which is good. Thunder Dragons have gone up a little bit to 14.6. Desperados has come up a little bit, 13.2. Noble Knights with a big drop to 12.9. They're kind of at the outer edge of tier 1 right now. We'll see if they hang on after the Kaiba Cup. Tier 2, you've got 2 new decks, Automat at 9.1 and Water Xyz just here at 5. I think Water Xyz is definitely going to gain some ground. Automat might press tier 1. Honestly, I don't know how well the Water deck will play. I think the back row choices are going to definitely need to improve. Because sometimes the Abyss Dweller doesn't really just win you the game. They find ways to get outside of the graveyard and make plays. Whether it's the back row to destroy the Abyss Dweller, or sometimes they can abuse the graveyard outside of the lockdown. Like you could still use Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Like it doesn't remove that ability of using the graveyard as a transit stop, if you will, instead of it just prevents effects from going off in the graveyard, if that makes any sense. So Water Abyss Dweller does by no means is going to win this deck every single game. Sometimes the number 37 is just as good. So yeah, Water Xyz, I don't see it being a tier 1 deck just because of what I can see from it, but with more Xyz options and more cards we get, that could be pretty good. Tier 3 we have Black Wings going up a little bit at 4.1, and we see the fall off of Invoked Neos since we last reviewed this tier list. Alright, so big news here. This is something that the community has asked for, actually, and they've delivered for a limited time. We only have 2 more days to take advantage of this, but there's discounted boxes. From first main box, which was, I don't even remember what the first main box was called, the one with the blue eyes on it. I'll check it out. So, first main box, Ultimate Rising, all the way to mini box 17. So that's a lot of sets here. That is Tornado of Phantoms, I believe. All those decks are half off in gems. So if you buy 10 packs, it's $250. 25 pack, 25 gem packs. And you could kind of go through your boxes and see, different things you're missing. Of course, a lot of these cards aren't being played anymore, and that's why people have been asking for them. So, all the cards, there's some from the Synchro era. It's not all of them. Absolute Inferno and Dimension of the Wizards don't count, so the Psychic Wielder gets cut off. But, definitely old Black Wings. All their cards are here in the Blackstorm Rising. A lot of their core cards, I don't mean all of them, but and yeah, I actually went through Gaia Genesis and I bought some cards, even though it brought me some bad luck. I went through that to get some of the Atlantean cards and things like that. Vampires are here. For hires, Paleozo Canadia from Valiant Souls. I completely forgot where that card was from. Dark World Dealings, that's not nothing. A Trunade. Salvage is from Abyss Encounters in case you don't have that card. Yeah, a lot of old core back roads also here too, so it's definitely a good thing to dip into if you have the extra gems. Of course, they're probably going to release a new box after the Kaiba Cup, so another way to trap you, I guess. But yeah, nice that they finally went through with this 50% cost discount on gems. I don't think I would have ever predicted the day would come, but here we are. We have bounty in bad times. Alright, KC Cup. I'm going to talk about a few things in the KC Cup, which will culminate in the release of a new card. But something they've done is I queued up into Stage 2 Duels yesterday for the first time. And what I noticed is I was facing all these second stage duelists. Like, they didn't have a name. They were just called second stage duelists. And then I realized they revealed the name afterwards. So this is a way to fight stream snipers or people who are targeting known quantities in the game. And definitely a very good thing. They even hid the icon, I think. The icon that you use, they just have a generic red symbol that says KC Cup. They tell you what country they're from, so or like what achievements they have and things like that. But I guess that makes you anonymous. It kind of reminds me of like protected health information. They'll tell you how old someone is or if they're male or female, but they're not going to tell you anything else. And you can't really tell who it is without other information, right? So this is a way to fight stream snipers, other saboteurs of the game. It's not foolproof, but it does cut off a source of cheating. And I'm all for it anyway to help the game. We're fighting all these anonymous duelists. Pretty funny. I guess I'll talk about my water deck here. So I blew all my gems on those discounted boxes. I spent some dream tickets, which I'll never use. So all that culminated in this water deck. So I've just been looking at the water decks that have been around. I still have to learn how to play this deck, but I have three Deep Sea Divas. I've always had two of these, and I just spent the UR Dream ticket to get third, I think. So pretty core card for the deck. Special summon a Sea Serpent from the deck, so that is the Atlanteans. You could pick the Marksman, you can pick the Heavy Infantry, or you can pick the Attack Squad. Typically, you go for the Infantry, so then you could get another playoff special double summon there. She's a level 2, but with the Territory of the Sharks, you turn everyone level 4. So sometimes you could go for the big level 4 Xyz play. Other times you can use her for the synchros for the other cards. Now, Silent Angler is a core card here. This is just a free special summon if you control water monsters. So, 4 stars. I do have a prismatic. I don't have 3, but I have a prismatic, so it's like 1.5 Silent Anglers. And if you only have 2 Silent Anglers, you can cover it with a Mermaid Shark. Mermaid Shark normal summon. Add a fish to your hand. So the only fish in the deck actually is the Silent Angler. So you can kind of tutor for that card. And then you can special summon that card, make Territory of the Sharks, go into your rank 4 Xyz play. Now the Atlanteans, 2 copies of Marksman. Some decks just run 1. I don't know what the best option is, either back row or having 2 Marksmans. But this is inflict damage, special summon an Atlantean from your deck. And then the main effect, sent to the graveyard to activate an effect, target a set card, destroy it. That goes along with the heavy infantry, which has no attack value, but normal summon, special summon a level 4 Sea Serpent in addition to this, so you could ramp into another play. You could play Deep Sea Diva, she is a Sea Serpent, so then you can normal summon her and get another Atlantean out from the deck. And then you detach this one, send it to the graveyard to activate an effect, destroy a face-up card. And then the attack squad's the most accessory card, but this one just comes out swinging for 2200. I remember using this card in my Golden Flying Fish deck. It was a part of that deck. I'm happy to use it again. Then some of the back row cards. I only have 1 Book of the Moon, but people like running that card. I could see Paleozoic Canada being okay in this deck. Given their water pieces and Paleozoic Canada is always a good card. It could cover not having Book of the Moon. 2 copies of Forbidden Lance, 1 Necro Valley. Necro Valley is a little dangerous in this deck because this deck does use a lot of water stuff, and you could just not. I would use Necro Valley as like a when you're sure you have the game in the bag situation, because you could shoot yourself in the foot. Your salvage won't work with Necro Valley. Various effects just won't work when you have Necro Valley. So don't shoot yourself in the foot and play it when the game's not in the bag. Salvage, you recycle 2 water monsters, add them to your hand. You could just do the whole Atlantean thing again, so get a heavy infantry and then a marksman or something. 1 Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. This is where I'm getting a little fancy with the tech cards, but blocks all the dark effects in the graveyard and the field. This is kind of extra of Necro Valley, frankly, but it's another thing. 2 copies of Treacherous Trap Hole, which is fine. In my extra deck, Brionic, White Aura, Dolphin, Crystron, Amatrix seem to be the most common plays. Of course, it won't work. Deep Sea Diva with Silent Angler makes the level 6. But then you're relying on the rank 5 Crystron, Amatrix the whole time. And then the XCs, I don't have extra copies of the cores, so I have Abyss Dweller, only have 1. Number 37, Hope Woven's Dragon Spider Shark, only have 1. So I put in the Shark Fang. Number 32, Shark Drake, which is also another aggro monster, but requires 3 of them. Similar to Hope Woven Dragon Spider Shark, and also a copy of Evigishki Marrowgeist for whatever reason. You just have to have all water monsters in your extra deck for Territory of the Sharks to work, so that really limits your choices of what you can put in it, even if you're not going to use the cards. So, yeah, that's what I have. I'm learning to play the deck. I'm learning to not use Necro Valley at every single time because it's costing games, so there it is. And there's a new card too. We're getting these packs of 2 cards at the fourth KC Cup Duel. And this is a little bit of a rant. They've released a new card behind it, and I still don't have it. Some people have full copies of this card. I have 0. This is Orbital 7. Orbital 7, of course, is a character from the game who serves Kaitenjo. He's also a card. So Light Machine, 4 stars, 500, 2000. When this is flipped face up, place a You Got It boss counter on this card. You can remove all You Got It boss counters on this card. This card's attack becomes 2000. After you change this card's attack with its effect, it cannot attack your opponent directly and sent to the graveyard during the end phase. You contribute this card to target 1 Photon or Galaxy monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. This is an interesting card for the Photon archetype. It does a lot of things. You flip it, you have to flip affect it, like assuming they don't attack it, and get 2000 attack. It's going to get destroyed at the end of the turn, so you're going to have to use it for the Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. That's the whole point, right? You get 2000 attackers for the Galaxy Eyes Photon special summon. Or you contribute this card to recycle a Photon or Galaxy monster in your graveyard added to your hand. That could be the better move, where you just normal summon this and then you recycle. Because a few of those cards can ramp, which is pretty nice. The whole getting 2000 attack for a counter isn't great because it needs to avoid getting attacked completely, because you hit in defense, you still survive. You're not getting flipped face up. So, actually, no, you get hit and you survive. You get the attack. That's wrong. You don't have to flip summon this card. It just needs to get flipped face up. So, getting hit will activate that. Getting destroyed by card effect won't activate that. I'm a little miffed that we don't have. They're probably gonna give this through like a ticket eventually, but some of us are left with no Orbital 7s, including myself. We'll see the next 2 days if I do get an Orbital 7, but it's all RNG for a new card, which is something that's a little weird in my opinion. So we also get the Starship Spy Plane. That's probably the best card they released this week. This card is from the Tour Guide Bingo, which I just finished. This card, let's see. It does exist in the TCG at least. Level 4 Wind Machine, 1100 attack, 500 defense. If your opponent controls a face-up Xyz monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. This card is special summoned from the hand. Target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls. Return that target to the hand. This is pretty good. Xyz are becoming part of the meta. You're seeing the main decks all run Xyz. This is a free special summon in that situation. And then you get to bounce a back row, Necro Valley, anything. Could be a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, doesn't matter. And it's going to activate unless they use like Divine Wrath on you or something, or Ultimate Providence on you. And it's a decent card for generic rank 4 Xyz. If you're missing like 3 copies of a card, like let's say you're missing like Silent Angler, you could just play this card too, right? It's another rank 4. It's another level 4 card. It hits a back row for sure, even if they destroy it. Let's say they have the back row, you play his card, and then they decide to destroy it. You've baited out a Raigeki Break or a Karma Cut, and you made them lose another card and card advantage in that point, right? So this card can bait out back row, make them waste it. Can take out a Necro Valley for a turn. You can make a play. And then it doesn't even cost you anything. It just costs you a special summon. So you could do your normal summon that turn. So very good card. They're only going to give us 1, so it's a fine card to patch up a deck with. When you don't have full copies of cards, you need a rank 4 Xyz summon. This is a fine material for that. So as long as the Wind Machine works okay for it. I know for the water decks, if it's Abyss Dweller, it's going to lose some attack, but you could still get the Abyss Dweller off. So fine play for rank 4 Xyz plays. Relicite. This is from last week from Card Flipper campaign. It's a Fire Fiend Tuner, 4 stars, 1600, 200. If this is sent from the field to the graveyard, inflict 250 burn damage to your opponent. You can only use this effect once per turn. Okay, no one really cares about the 250 burn. You could kind of do something stupid where you keep bringing it back with powerful rebirth or something to recycle, and you keep burning your opponent down. That's something, I guess. It's a fire tuner, which fire cards always have had some appeal because of the invoked Purgatrio play. So in Battlement Boxer Veil kind of caught fire and stuff. And you're thinking about what fire cards they're going to nerf again, like Volcanic Shell, put on a ban list, because Purgatrio is so good. So this is another card to put in consideration there if you want to do some synchro play with whatever invoked package you're running. There is that. I guess you could play Alistair, make a level 8 synchro summon, and then you could use those two materials in the graveyard to make Purgatrio. That's something, right? And Purgatrio fits well because it hits for piercing, like a big piercing damage. This adds another 250 to it. So there's a little bit of appeal on that side. I think it might see play there where you're combining it with Alistair in some way to use as a fire. It's the only way I see it seeing play. Alright, so two more cards for today. Satellite Lasers. These are from the ranked duel rewards for this month, which is a very short month, so make sure you get your duels in from the KC Cup. Satellite Laser Balsam is a UR. Actually, let me talk about the Satellite Cannon first. I'll talk about that. Satellite Cannon is an SR ticket. Light Machine, level 500. This card cannot be destroyed by battle with a level 7 or lower monster. During each of your end phases, this card gains 1000 attack. If this card attacks, this increased attack returns to 0 after damage. So this has some stall ability against Blue Eyes. But even that, you can get your alternative dragon out pretty fast and then destroy this card. They have a lot of karma cuts too, so, and Raigeki breaks and whatever. So this isn't going to be on the board very long. The one tribute monster, but you can cheat it out with a Shining Angel, because that's just any card of less than 1500 attack. So you could Shining Angel into this card, gains 1000 attack each turn. Not much use for this card. Now the UR ticket is Satellite Laser Balsam, which is a Light Machine Fusion, 8 stars, 0 attack, 2000 defense. The fusion of 3 satellite cannons must be fusion summoned. Alright, that kills it then. Once per turn during your end phase, this card gains 3000 attack. If it attacks, this increased attack returns to 0 after damage. It inflicts piercing on defense monsters. Alright, I did not read the card must be fusion summoned, which makes this hot garbage. So, this card's upside is it has 3000 attack with piercing. And then you can just keep stacking it every turn, so it's going to be 6000, which means it'll probably win you the game if you leave it there for 2 turns. I thought this would be good with those cards that cheat out fusion cards. Those Taya, Life Cost 0, Cyberstein decks. But then it must be fusion summoned, so you're going to have to run 3 satellite cannons. Maybe you have another material to substitute, like a substitute monster for fusion. It just can't be included as an all-purpose fusion beater, because it is a pretty good ability where you can gain 6000 attack in 2 turns and then pierce them. You win the duel, right? Maybe there is something to this where you're running like Trunades, you're running. It's a very fine-tuned deck, and you have to tutor out your satellite cannons. That's the hard part. You need those 3 satellite cannons. I don't know how this works. Like, it'll be fine to have the satellite cannons in the graveyard, and then you use some way to bring them back. Like, I'm trying to think about Cyber Dragons, because they do it very well. where they could use the fusion gate and they could use the cyber load fusion and all those things to do it. But this whole satellite cannon thing just doesn't work. I mean, this is a horrible way to lose, where you're just getting hammered by a 6,000 piercer, but that does happen sometimes. So it's just a clunkier way of doing it, and they made it free. So as long as you got your duels in for ranked duels and stuff, so I don't know. So that is it. That's it for the podcast. Yeah. So upcoming news: Casey Cup is gone. One more day of 2 more days of the Casey Cup. DD Castle Assault, unlock Axel Brody if you haven't. Got new UR card, Pro Meter, the Burning Star. Duel Quest, new SR card, Rapid Fire Magician. Looks like we just have the DD Castle next week. That's just fine. I like that event. Caitlin Kessler retired to the gate. Duel Links Mission Research at the end of the month with a new SR card, Soundproofed. There's only 2 more weeks of the month left, so it's going to be DD Castle Assault next week, and then the week after the Mission Research. And then also obtain the new legendary duelist, Antimony or Bruno, whatever name they give him. That'll also be in the last week when we're doing our Mission Research. And then improvement to the dual screen button to remove all search conditions. That would be great. Trying to build my water deck, and I'm just like searching through XZ's cards when I don't need any. It's a bit much. So yeah, that is it for the podcast this week. Thank you for listening. Thank you everyone for listening. Listen and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. Just search the Duel Assessment Podcast. Check out this podcast and more at the website, theduelassessment.wordpress.com. Email me anything at theduelassessment@gmail.com. Or you could tweet at me at duel_assessment on my own account at Green Rangers CCG. Alright, good luck in the Kaiba Cup. Happy dueling. See you next time.